everyone. Thank you for joining me. I missed out on sharing with you this morning live at 11 because my internet was completely disconnected. So, thank you for your patience with me. I did not want to miss talking about this concept that we hold our issues in our tissues. And I do want to give credit where credit is due. I do not know the name of the individual that coined that phrase, but I do know that she was an introductory speaker at an Oprah conference back in about 1995. So I'm going to give her credit where credit is due. Um, we do hold our issues in our tissues. Think about if you can relate to an experience that I've had. You know, I've gotten some bad news uh, about situations that are going on in the lives of my loved ones, and I feel that emotion rise up in me, that worry, that angst. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's resentment, worry for sure. And what happened for me until I started becoming aware and more mindful about what was going on, is I would get in a pan of brownies, and I don't know if you're like me, but you can't leave an uneven row in the pan of brownies. So rather than having a piece, I'd eat the whole row before I even realized it. Sometimes 2 rows. So, yeah, give me a hand up if you can relate to having that kind of a relationship with food where I was eating my emotions. Emotions are there for us. They're like the check engine light for us. When we feel that angst coming up, the best thing for us to do is to ask ourselves, what's going on? It is so much easier to eat a row of brownies, isn't it? Because that does kind of numb that emotion for a while, and then it comes back and it's twofold. We've got the guilt and the shame from eating that many brownies, and we still have the worry and the angst from the emotional situation that's going on. So, and then what ends up happening is we are eating from a stress response. We've got that cortisol, that's the stress hormone, going on inside our bodies. Now, that may have been triggered by the thoughts that we're having about the emotional situation that's going on in our lives. Adding brownies to it doesn't help. It only adds more of that cortisol response inside our bodies, and it detracts our assimilation. If there is anything if there is any nutrient density in brownies, our body can't even absorb that or assimilate that because we are in such a high stress response. When cortisol is flooding through the system, it also triggers insulin. You know what insulin is? It's the fat storage hormone. So I'm eating because I'm stressed. I'm eating brownies because I'm stressed. I'm stressed and I trigger insulin, and all that adds up to having my issues in my tissues, having more tissue, more fat storage, right? So, what's the answer? The answer is to become aware, become mindful instead of mindlessly eating the brownies. I'm the queen of mindless eating, was the queen of mindless eating. Now I'm practicing mindful eating and noticing, oh, I feel that emotional trigger inside my body. I'm just going to pause. I'm going to breathe. And I'm going to ask myself, are these brownies actually going to help resolve that situation? The answer is always no. Yes, they will make me feel better for a split second, but then the consequences are going to feel worse than initially the emotions did feel. So breathe, pause for 30 to 60 seconds, allow those emotions to be there rather than trying to eat to cover them up. Some of the individuals that have worked with me in the past have taken advantage of a tool called an urge jar. The urge to eat, to cover up those emotions, allowing ourselves to feel those emotions without eating, process through those emotions, allowing them to be there. It's part of the human experience, emotions. Stress is part of the human experience. We don't have to eat to cover it up. It actually adds more to the stress. So, allowing that, and then after we've processed through that emotion, adding a jewel to the urge jar. Those are some tips that I have for you when you are thinking about holding your issues in your tissues. If you can relate to this, your next step is to learn how to stop eating your emotions. And I want to offer some help to you. So just send me a message, give me a thumbs up in the comments of this video, or private message me, and we can find a way for you and I to have a conversation together, either through messaging or through a phone conversation, or um, joining my Facebook group, my private Facebook group. I want to help you. I want to help you learn to stop eating your emotions, and I want to help you learn to be more mindful in your relationship with your body and your emotions and your food. Because what happens then is we stop holding on to our issues in our tissues. We still have our issues, but they're not stored in our tissue. I love talking about that. I love sharing what I've learned because it is so helpful. It's helped me so much, and it's helped many other individuals have a more powerful, a more empowered relationship with their food and their emotions. So, don't hesitate to get a hold of me and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for listening and have a wonderful weekend.